Hi there everyone, it's Tony Paladin from LCP Global Sports Consulting Group, and this morning I thought I'd share a personal experience and introduce the concept of the junkyard dog. So I remember very clearly a couple of years ago, just before a world championship where we actually medaled, sitting on the couch, cold, hungry, disappointed, frustrated, letting all those bad things go through your mind about how hard you're working and life is just tough, and obviously it's affected by the level of training. And as we were lightweights, we were cutting down to weight, so you were basically operating your system on max capacity with minimal resource. And I remember speaking to our coach about this and saying, look, we've got no sponsor, no money. Like, the place we were staying wasn't that comfortable. And he said to us, look, just think about the junkyard dog. The dog that lives in squalor with not knowing where its next meal's going to come from, having to fight for its life. And ultimately, those dogs are actually some of the toughest animals in existence. And he basically said, look, at the moment you're being pruned. The hard training, the fact that nothing is easy around you. And this was obviously exacerbated largely by the fact that we didn't have a sponsor. So we went and represented our country with no sponsor and performed. Now the reason I'm telling you this is that adopting that hard mentality in the tough times is absolutely paramount to break through to an ultimate performance. So another concept that might resonate is that of the one-hit wonder. So sometimes people will see someone that just magically comes out of nowhere and either wins a gold medal or creates a blockbuster film or has a top hit of a song, and that person basically came from nowhere and made it look really, really easy, and all of a sudden just performed, and it was like just this golden path. And I can tell you from personal experience that is very, very rarely the case. That person that performed, that top champion, that top artist, that top performer, that top businessman, that person persevered when times were tough, when no one believed in them, when no one was supporting them, and they had to really dig deep into the belief that what they were doing was ultimately going to bear the fruits of their labors. And the reason I'm telling you all this, and just to connect the dots, is that often when an athlete is looking for a sponsor, okay, they know what their abilities are, they know how hard they are working, but because they don't have the performance behind them, it's all just pie in the sky. And what sponsor would want to sponsor or back someone when it's uncertain and it's pie in the sky? And that can be quite disheartening. So from personal experience, and this is why I really, if you're listening to this and you're that athlete who hasn't quite made it yet, you are on the cusp of becoming elite or on the cusp of winning a medal, but you just can't quite get there, okay, reach out and chat, because it's fairly simple. To get someone to share your dream, you really have to objectively outline your value proposition, what you're worth, what you can bring to the table, because ultimately those additional resources and support from a sponsor are just going to help mobilize that journey and make it just a little bit easier and a little more probable. So in terms of speaking about the actual value proposition, is you need to treat your goal and your dream like a pure objective. It is a fairly predictable thing to do, that the harder you train, the more strategic you are in your approach, in all likelihood the better you're going to perform, and you need to share that with the person that's going to support you. And the last thing I'm going to say is, when you're looking for that sponsor to help you do that, it shouldn't just be a financial contribution. And I've spoken about this a couple of times in terms of a sponsorship is actually more than that. It's actually a partnership, and ultimately that becomes a close relationship. So if you can really outline your dream and your value proposition up front okay, and present that, and get someone to invest in you because they perhaps share the same values as you, you're ultimately going to turn that sponsorship from a financial transaction into a partnership where you both share the fruits, and ultimately it's going to become a relationship that hopefully could be long lasting. So the last thing I'm going to say is, if you need help with this, please reach out. I've been there, I've done that, I know what it feels like. I know what it's like to not have anyone supporting you, and ultimately I just have to dig deeper and deeper and reach out and ask for the help. So if this makes sense to you in any way, and hopefully it does, chat to me. I'll help you strategize, outline your value proposition, and then find you the right person that's going to align with your goals. Anyway, take care. Cheers.